Alright, this is our second part of our lesson on elimination, and this time we're going to be using elimination with multiplication. So let's find out what that's all about. Here's a little bit of vocabulary. We've already talked about elimination, and now we're talking about some things that are equivalent to each other. An example of equivalent is saying that $2 is the equivalent to 8 quarters. $1 is equivalent to 4 quarters. What it means is they have the exact same value in the end. Things that are equivalent have the exact same value. So if you need to, pause the video and write this vocabulary down. Alright, so here's our methods now we have for solving an equation, a system of equations. We started out with graphing, then we've learned substitution, and our last lesson was elimination using addition and subtraction. And now we're going to be, if you can't eliminate by adding or subtracting, what can you do? Well, you can multiply your equations, either one equation or both equations, by something so that you can then add or subtract. So we're going to do a few examples in which we do just that. Alrighty, so we're going to do an example here, but this is not the correct example. So let me go ahead and change it. You write this down. Equation 1 is 3x plus 4y equals negative 25, and the second equation is 2x minus 3y equals 6. This is the equations we're going to use for the next couple of examples. So write that down, please. And here we go. Our first method we're going to eliminate the x from the equation. Alright, to eliminate the x, first of all, it's going to be really hard to use substitution because neither one of the x coefficients are a 1 or a positive 1. And we can't just directly add them or subtract them because we have a 3 and a 2. They don't have the same number, and they definitely, we have to either have to add, same number, opposite sign, or subtract, same number, same sign. So what we're going to do is we're going to, and when I do this, I always like to create same number, different signs so I can add. People make more mistakes with subtraction. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the coefficient for x in this equation, and I'm going to multiply my first equation by it. And I'm going to take the coefficient from the first equation and multiply the second equation by it. When I multiply 2 times 3, I get 6. 2 times 3, I get 6. But I want to have opposite signs, so I'm going to make this second one negative. So all I'm going to do is take equation 1 and distribute the 2 all the way across to everything. So I'm going to get 6x plus 8y equals negative 50. And then I'm going to distribute my negative 3 to everything in the second equation. So I'm going to get negative 6x. Negative times negative is a positive, 9y, and I'm going to get a negative 18. So what happens is I have same number, opposite sign, so I can add those two together. And when I do that, they both have an x, but 6 minus 6 is 0, so I have 0 x's in my answer. And then I'm going to add my y's together. They both have a y. What makes them the same stays the same. And then I am going to add my coefficients in front. 8 plus 9 is 17. And then I'm going to add my other like terms, my plain old numbers. Negative and negative, they both have the same sign. So I add the integers together and take the sign they both have. Then all I have to do is get rid of that 17 in front of the y. Coefficient in front of a variable means my math is multiplication. I do multiplications with division. So negative 68 divided by 17 is 4, so y equals negative 4. Then all I have to do to get the other answer is plug that negative 4 back in. So 3x plus 4 times negative 4 equals negative 25. So 3x minus 16 equals negative 25. I add my 16. So 3x equals negative 9. So my x is equal to negative 3. So my answer is my x would be negative 3. And my y would be negative 4. Alright, now we're going to solve that same set of a system of equations, but this time we're going to eliminate y. And this is what I would have done first, because if you'll notice, my y's already have opposite signs, so all I have to do is create same number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take equation 1 and I'm going to multiply it by the coefficient of y in the second equation, and I'm going to take equation 2 and I'm going to multiply it by the coefficient of y in the first equation. So all I have to do is distribute, so I get 9x plus 12y equals negative 75, and then I get, when I distribute with the second one, I get 8x minus 12y equals 24. So then all I have to do is add, because I have same number, different sign, and these cancel out, and I get 17x equals, and negative 75 plus 24 is negative 51, and I divide by 17, so that would give me for x a negative 3. Then all I do is take that value for negative 3, because remember I have an x and a y, so I got to have two answers. I have my one for my x. 3 times negative 3 plus 4y equals negative 25, so negative 9 plus 4y equals negative 25. So I'm going to add 9 to each side, so 4y equals negative 16. So my y is equal to negative 4. So my answer should be my x value, that is an x value, not an x, should be negative 3, and my y should be negative 4. And that should be the same answer I got with the last problem, because they were the same, and my answer is going to stay the same. Alright, so here's one for you to try. You're going to use elimination, but you're going to have to multiply by something first. So you can either get rid of the x or get rid of the y. I can tell you right now that I'm going to go ahead and try to get rid of the y, because they already have opposite signs, so it makes it a little bit easier. So pause the video now, you give this a try, then restart so we can check our answers with each other. Alright, here's another one for you to try. If you'll notice, there is no difference in signs. All of them are positive, so your choice, x or y, just whichever one you want to do, because you're going to get the same answer no matter what. So pause the video and give this problem a try and restart when you're ready to check your answer. Alright, what I got for my answer was x is equal to 5 and y is equal to negative 2. Remember, when we put them in order pair format, we always put them in alphabetical order. X comes before y in the alphabet, so the answer for x comes before y in the ordered pair. Alright, so I have a table for you, and this gives you each method that we've covered for solving a system of equations: graphing, subtraction, adding using addition, adding using subtraction, I meant to say substitution instead of subtraction up there, sorry, and elimination using multiplication. And over here I've given you some ideas on when the best time is to use each one of them. It would be a good idea to write down this chart so you have it in the future, so it'll help you decide, because the next three examples you're going to do, you're going to decide what's the best method to use. Alright, here is the one where you should be able to determine the best method to use using that table based on what that table says. The best method to use in this one would be substitution, and the reason it's substitution is because you have The variable x in one of the equations has a coefficient of a positive 1. So let's see if you can solve this one by substitution. So pause the video, solve the problem, recheck, start, and check your work. Alright, so here's what I got. I got a value of 6 for x and 4 for y. So 6 comma 4 is my answer. Really, if you'd used elimination, you could have also solved this and you would have got the same solution. Alright, let's go on and try another example. Best method to use on this one, really in all honesty, would be substitution again, because you have a coefficient with the x here of a positive 1 and with the y of a negative 1. Also, you could, in all honesty here, you could use, you have opposite signs here, but you don't have the same number. But if you multiply this first equation by 3, you're going to create same coefficient with the y's, different sign. So you'd only have to do one multiplication, and you could use elimination. So use whichever one you prefer, and try this one on your own and restart the video and check your answer when you're done. Alright, so I used elimination, and I'll be honest with you here. Elimination is my preferred method of solving a system, so whenever I have the chance, I will use elimination above anything else. So I found an x value of 3, a y value of 1. Alright, one last example. Alright, here's an application problem for us to try. So remember I said with any word problem, first time read it all the way through once. So suppose you have a part-time job delivering package. Your employers pay a flat rate of $9.50 per hour. And you discover that a competitor pays employees $2 per hour plus $3 per delivery. The question is, how many deliveries would the competitor's employee have to make in a 4-hour shift to earn the same pay you earn in a 4-hour shift? Well, so we're going to write this as a system of equations. And what we're going to do is let the number of hours you worked be your x, and we're going to let y stand for the number of deliveries made. So your pay is actually going to be the $9.50 per hour times the number of hours you work. The competitor's pay is the $2 per hour that they work plus the $3 times every delivery that they make. Alright, so basically we want to know what's going to happen in a 4-hour shift. So if you're working the same shift, and I would probably use substitution on this one, because you're going to work, it's 9.5 times the number of hours worked, and we want to know how many deliveries would have to be made in that same 4 hours. So these are going to have to be equal to each other, because 4-hour shift and a 4-hour shift. Pay at your company, pay at the competitor's company. And we already know our number of hours, x equals 4. So we just need to find out our number of deliveries made. So we substitute in the 4 for the x. So 9.5 times 4 is 38. And 2 times 4 is 8 plus 3y. And if we solve this equation for y, let's see, we get 30 equals 3y, so divide by 3 to get rid of the 3 because that's multiplication. So my y equals 10. So my answer was y equals 10. So what that means is to make the same amount in a 4-hour shift at my competitors, I would have to make 10 deliveries to make the same amount of money. Is that a good deal or not? Alright, that's it for solving a system using elimination with multiplication and choosing the best method.